What is required in my understanding? And again, I'm saying this from the perspective of academia. We will need to master not only the Indian system of thought, but also the Western system of thought. And then we need to do a cross-cosmological comparison. It's a fun exercise. It helps you to evolve. It helps you to enlarge yourself. It truly helps you to become a cosmocentric being. Because you will be able to see the beauty and the limitations of the Euro-American consciousness from an Indian perspective. And you will be able to do the same from the other prism. You are able to get into within of both these cosmologies. It's a fun exercise. In that case, you will be able to embrace both within your being, India and the West. And when I say that, I'm not saying that these two are singular entities. There's a tremendous diversity in both these categories. But it is a yoga. And it has to be done in the right spirit. Not by making thought and mind the end all and the be all of this enterprise. But understanding that when the divine force wants to use your mind for transformation, for bringing any kind of transformation in the world, all the work that you have done in the past will become extremely helpful and useful. The mother will activate something in you and you will start rolling. So I'll come back to the recovery again. The recovery of what has been suppressed, what is continually being suppressed, what is still extant in Sanskrit and vernacular languages. Sri Aurobindo says that very little of what was in existence in the ancient time remains, and a very little of that has actually been translated. So there is still a lot of work which needs to be done. And this yoga that we do, that needs to become part of the university system. That is what is required for the transformation in my understanding, and it is completely in consonance with what Sri Aurobindo has enunciated. And of course, when we begin to connect with the divine, new philosophy, new vision will begin to unfold, will begin to flow through us as different systems of thought flowed through Sri Aurobindo. I'm sure you will be familiar with this, that even when he talks about synthesis of yoga or integral yoga, what he is saying is that if he would have taken all the systems of yoga of the past and brought them together, it would have become a potpourri. It would have become a mixture. So what he did, he took some central principles of different yogas and brought them together. And in chemical terms, I would say he created a new compound. I cannot really leave my chemistry training behind, right? And then, when this spirit, this knowledge is recovered, we need to see the present problems from that light. And I think at that point in time, our intervention will become extremely powerful, extremely present, and that is what is required. But we need to understand the forces that are opposing this revival and this renaissance. And at this point in time, those forces actually reside within us. They reside deep within our own existence. We have to deconstruct them. We have to get past them. Then only we will be able to bring Renaissance in India. So let me read a few lines from Sri Aurobindo, and with that I will close. Maybe it would be a good opportunity for us to dialogue and discourse. In fact, that is the Indian way. If you would look at our ancient texts, they are all dialogical. The work of the Renaissance in India must be to make this spirit, this higher view of life, this sense of deeper potentiality, once more a creative, perhaps a dominant power in the world. I'll repeat this sentence. The work of the Renaissance in India must be to make this spirit, this higher view of life, this sense of deeper potentiality, once more a creative, perhaps a dominant power in the world. But to that truth of itself, it is as yet only vaguely awake. The mass of Indian action is still at the moment proceeding under the impress of the European motive and method. And because there is a spirit within us to which they are foreign, the action is poor in will, feeble in form, and ineffective in results, for it does not come from the roots of our being. Only in a few directions is there some clear light of self-knowledge. It is when a greater light prevails and becomes general that we shall be able to speak, not only in prospect, but in fact, of the Renaissance in India. As a closing statement, I would also say that I have read certain articles emanating from Pondicherry, that as Sri Aurobindo's yoga progressed further, he disconnected himself from India and Hinduism. This is incorrect. When we look at thoughts of Sri Aurobindo, we cannot operate in binaries. It cannot be binaries of past and present, tradition and modernity. Sri Aurobindo is simultaneously in both those categories. When Sri Aurobindo's writings become universal and cosmocentric, it is not that he has abandoned the India-centric writings. They all are placed on a spectrum, on a widening spectrum, or widening concentric circles, if you will. They all are part of the same conglomerate. I would say that when we embrace Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, we need to embrace Sri Aurobindo and the Mother in totality, in completeness. I cannot say that, that I'm just going to focus on Renaissance in India and foundations of Indian culture and not read the human cycle. I don't think I'll be doing service to myself as a disciple of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. When we become their disciples, we need to embrace everything that they have written and stated. With those words, I thank you once again for this wonderful opportunity to have me here. Just before coming here, I was at the Samadhi, And as I was stepping out, I saw the announcement of today's presentation on the notice board of the ashram. Nothing will ever beat that. Thank you very much.